Hello there, yet another beautiful day, and welcome to the fourth episode on Aptitudes for Effective Communication. In the last episode, we found out through the example of Roger Federer why one needs to develop an attitude of calmness and composure to be an effective communicator. As Roger Federer said, every point is a point and one needs to focus on the next one. Likewise, every experience is an opportunity for us to improve ourselves and to be better off in what we do. In today's episode, we will dive deeper into how one can develop an attitude of calmness and composure to be an effective communicator. As in previous episodes, we will consider two case studies, one from my personal life, where we find out how important it is to not lose control of your emotions, intentions, and thoughts, and how you can be an effective communicator. Let's begin by imagining ourselves as the captain of a Boeing 747 with 200 plus passengers on board. Imagine that the flight is cruising at an altitude of 37,000 feet above sea level. Imagine all four engines of the airplane stopping with no prior caution at all. What would you do as the captain of this airplane, where you know your life and the lives of over 200 souls on board are in your hands? Comment below what you would do in that situation to remain calm and composed and to have total control of your emotion. This is no hypothetical example I'm giving you. This is exactly what happened in 1982 in what is known today as the Jakarta incident. British Airways Flight 9, cruising at an altitude of 37,000 feet, flying from London to Auckland, under Captain Eric Moody, lost all its engines after entering a cloud of ash. In those days, the disruption caused by volcanic ash was not familiar with aviation industry. Mount Galunggung volcano near Indonesia had erupted, and Flight 9 entered a cloud of volcanic ash caused by this eruption, and it sandblasted the windscreen of the airplane. The captain had no visibility of what was happening outside. The glasses were opaque. Smoke and the smell of sulfur started entering the cabin. People started panicking. The plane had lost all four engines and was losing altitude. The captain, the first officer, and the flight engineer kept trying all procedures to reignite those lost engines. With one lost engine, the flight can still fly. With two, it still can manage. But with all four engines lost, the flight was literally gliding. This is when Captain Eric Moody made the legendary announcement. He announced through his PA, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. There is a small problem. We have lost all four engines. We are trying our damnedest to get them going again. I hope you are not in too much distress." Those were the words of a calm and composed leader who effectively communicated the adversity of the situation whilst ensuring that the best is being done to resolve the same, boosting all the passengers' morale and bringing them hope. The flight was losing about 2,000 feet every minute. And at about 13,000 feet, when the flight re-entered cleaner air, one of the engines relit. Captain Moody and the other crew on board finally were able to land the plane safely in Jakarta with nobody on board hurt or injured. Forget being the captain of the aeroplane. Imagine yourselves hearing those words of the captain as a passenger of that flight. How reassured would you be when the head of the plane, when the captain of the plane tells you that there is a problem, but he is attending to it and not to lose hope? Imagine the impact one creates when one is calm and composed. Reimagine the butterfly effect. Captain Eric Moody's calmness and composure in a dire situation won the hearts of thousands of people across the world. He won the Queen's Commendation for excellent service in aviation sector. It also led to the study of volcanic ash in aviation industry. One needs to develop an attitude of calmness and composure to be happy in life and to be an effective communicator. Let me take you to the second example on how being calm and composed can help you overcome dire situations. This is a conversation I had with a lovely lady. Those who have read my book, How Leaders Communicate to Win, will identify this lady as Miss Blossom. I wasn't expecting what was to come forth when I started with my routine elocution style script on how is that I can be of help for her that day. She was presented with a $25,000 bill for a service for which she used to pay about $50 a month. I couldn't believe my ears and I had to be spontaneous. I asked her, "Sorry, say what?" And she said, "I am presented with a $25,000 bill and I don't think there is any chance that I would have used the service to cost me as much." I paused for a few seconds before I could regain my calmness and composure because I had to take charge of the situation to resolve the issue she was facing at that moment. She had come to me to seek help, support, and to get the issue resolved as well. After probing through the issue and checking all the historic data, I found out that this is a process which will find a solution, but it can take a couple of months and multiple teams and cases where to get involved for the same. As usual, I had some small talk with Miss Blossom to lighten the atmosphere, but she didn't wanted the situation to be lightened because she was already calm and composed, and no wonder why. She told me how her life was. She herself was a survivor. She had heart diseases. Her husband had dementia. They were married for about 60 years. And the way she presented the dementia of her husband is what shocked me the most. She said lightly, "It's funny to see my husband walk. He walks like a penguin." Imagine the way how calm and composed she was handling situations that were not in her control. She had perfect control on her emotions, intentions, thoughts, and judgments. She had effectively deactivated her reptilian brain and remained calm and composed with everything that were not in her control, accepting them. I had the opportunity to speak with this lovely lady many a number of times until finally the issue was resolved. Over all those conversations, she remained the very same, calm and composed, and it was always beautiful to have that conversation with her. All of us love to interact with people who are calm and composed. We can share our thoughts, our emotions with them. They are practical in nature, and we can have constructive discussions and opinions with them. It is indeed beautiful to speak with people who are calm and composed. And this is why one needs to develop an attitude of calmness and composure to be an effective communicator. Before you go, I have a couple of tips for you to remain calm and composed when facing adversities and dire situations to be an effective communicator. The first tip to remain calm and composed with people or situations is to pause. When facing challenging people or situations, all you need to do is pause for 3 seconds. In those 3 seconds, you will be able to control your emotion. It's not your first response, it's not the first aid, but you respond in a controlled manner, understanding the gravity of the situation. You don't need to respond tit for tat for every comment, every conversation that you have, because ultimately we are progressing towards effective communication where every party involved in the conversation lives happily. The second tip I want you to follow is that of autophagy. The Japanese scientist who found this natural biological process won the Nobel Prize. This is a process that happens in our body where our cells clean, repair, and recycle themselves when exposed to stress like fasting or intense exercise. I'm not talking about the fasting that you do for religious or dietary reasons. I am talking the fasting you need, the autophagy you need to do for your mind. Reflect upon how quick were you to respond to situations. How was your response? The words you used to respond to those situations, and more importantly, what was the outcome of those conversations after the words or the way you spoke in that conversation. One needs to continuously reflect on the words, the tone, the language used when in dire situations, because to be an effective communicator, like what Carl Gustav Jung said, you need to turn the unconscious to conscious, else it will dictate your life and you will call it fate. When you remain calm and composed, you are in total control of your emotions and you have turned the unconscious to the conscious. I'll see you in the next episode where we discuss the next attitude to be an effective communicator, possible with JB.